We're going to be talking about TVs versus projectors, along with pretty much everything else we talk about every week. So I wanted to get it started off with what a lot of people were asking me through the week, and that was simply put, what about the Samsung S85F? I'll just save you a lot of suspense. The S85F ain't really all that great, and I don't particularly recommend it. The other questions that we have are about what was it again? Just the TCL series of televisions that come out in Europe and stuff like that. I don't have access to European models, so I don't really know what European models translate to here. But I can say that it is going to be about the same as what we have in the States, I would imagine. I don't think they're going to do something super special for the European nations that we don't have here. Aside from that, welcome in for everybody coming in. What's up, Christian Conservative? Thanks for stopping by tonight. This is the time where you guys have questions and I have answers. And I like to do this at least once a week. I almost forgot. I was winding down for the night, getting all tired, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I need to do a live stream. That's right. I did ask you guys if you guys wanted me to do that. As you can probably see, I got bags under my eyes a mile long. It's very stressful all day dealing with kids and life, and you know how it is. You get exhausted. But either way, we're going to make the time to answer some questions. Hopefully this week, the live stream chat log doesn't lag like it did last week, where I didn't see some of the super chats some of you guys sent. So thank you to everybody last week who sent super chats because I couldn't see them. And I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea how to make it stop doing that. I'm just kind of going off of what I see here. Again, I only see so far one person commenting, so if there's anybody else, I'm trying to scroll. I'm not seeing it. But I'm just going to go over the aforementioned questions that we had during the week, and we're going to go from there. So for starters, a lot of people have been asking me, I think one of the big ones is like, hey, what's the deal with you basically not really attacking, so to speak, but going after other content creators? What's the end game? What's the point with that? And the point is simply this: if people want to be experts in this field, God bless you, be an expert in the field, but at least offer settings to help take advantage of the televisions before you do these things called shootouts or comparisons. Because if you say, the best way I can explain it to everybody watching is like, it's so stupid for me personally, knowing this like the back of my hand, right? When I look at somebody and they say, okay, I whipped this, let's say iPhone out of the box. I've installed no apps on it. I've done nothing to it. This is as good as it's ever going to be. Well, how would you know that? You didn't put any apps on it. You didn't take it off the rails and see what it could actually do. You're just speaking out of the side of your neck, really. And you have no idea if it can go a step above what you think out of the box gives you. And that's where I get really annoyed with the guys, because they're just over here saying one TV is better than the other, and they're grossly misleading people. For example, they'll tell you that a TV like the LG G5 can compete with something with quantum dot color to the extent that they make it look washed out on camera. And I'm like, dude, the S95F is no superhero, but it is not washed out to that degree to look like a W OLED if you put time into it. Out of the box, everything looks like trash. Call it what it is. Let's be real. But if you put time into it, it looks better. And I've noticed that they'll put time into the other TVs and they'll make a little adjustments here and there to the other TVs. But then when you look at some of the, again, more commonsensical TVs to buy for less money, they'll be like, no, don't buy this. It's totally shit. No, this is better for the money. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Now, that being said, we do have a couple of questions I want to get to. Any chance of getting S95B again for new settings? I wish, I really do, but that TV is pretty much gone for me. Unfortunately, there's no way to get new settings for that one. Are Samsung nerfing the QLED series as well? They're nerfing everything. I'm not gonna lie. Samsung probably, when it comes to updates, is like the worst brand to buy, just for the sole purpose of, the updates are gonna come shitty. Like, you're gonna get that TV, it's gonna be one of the best things you've ever seen, and then give it like 2-3 months. After 2-3 months, that shit's gonna look like ass, and then you're gonna be looking at it like, is this even the same TV? Like, I don't even want this TV anymore. Like, it looks like shit. And that's pretty much what happens a lot of time. The S95B got it really bad. So I always say, if you do end up buying a Samsung, take it offline. Like, all my Samsung TVs outside of the 95F are offline. I don't really care about the 95F, so I leave it online because it doesn't have anything to offer me anyway. So I'm just like, fuck it. But as far as the TVs I actually care about that are actual champions, yeah, I leave them offline 100%. Sup, just logged on. Thanks for stopping by, man. S90D or S95D, $100 difference on sale. Run to the S95D because right now it does give you the most picture quality for the money. Yo, my Miga. That's funny, Miga. Just say it. I mean, I don't know what the whole freaking like hullabaloo is about saying nigga. Like just say it. I mean, you acting like it's fucking like I've never heard it before. Like, have you seen me? I've heard it before. Just say it. I mean, really, what's gonna happen to you? Really? Anyway, moving on. Aura farming, you know? Aura farming is a real thing. Hello, what's going on? Fluffy, what's going on? What do you recommend for the PS5 today? Is it the S90D? I mean, yeah, the S90D pretty much for all intents and purposes is going to be like everybody's bread and butter television. I think it gives you the perfect balance between picture quality and expense. So you're not going to be eating the bank too much to get one of those TVs. It's going to look really great and you're going to be blown away pretty much every time you look at it. And if you join for the $4.99, not even the $5, and you get my settings, you're going to see what I'm talking about when I say it's like a cut above. It really is. Out of the box, I'm going to sound stupid. Like with every TV, I'm going to sound stupid. And you're going to be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It does not look good out of the box. I don't see how it looks good out of the box. And then, of course, you put in the settings and you're like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Sup, best, sup, bro. You are the best. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Best TV ever, LG C1. LG C1 is definitely a solid TV. What's your favorite anime? Oh, favorite anime of all time, One Piece. But then you got to go second down, Solo Leveling, hands down. The cinematics, the fight sequences, the feeling you get of like, damn, he's really like overpowered. Solo Leveling for sure after One Piece. Then how about you guys? What's some of your favorite animes? Enoch, what's going on, brother? You said, what's good, Quantum? I'm wondering if Sony continues to force Google sign-in, because if they did, then I will not be surprised since Sony is on a downfall lately. Yeah, I would imagine they did not get rid of the forced terms of service sign-in. I literally like before, like, you know, when I'm selecting a TV for the review process, I'm like, okay, it's either going to be the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II, it's going to be the LG G5, or it's going to be the TCL QM8. And then I go down the list and I'm going to tell you and show you just in real time what my thought process is. Sony Bravia 8 Mark II, well, that's out. Most people can't even afford it. I mean, let's be real, fucking $3,000 for a TV. If you're lucky on sale, you can find it for like $2,400, but that's still a lot of fucking money for just a 55, let alone the 65-inch version. The LG G5 kind of more in the same boat, a little bit more affordable, but again, it's a WOLED, and you can't expect it to run rings around, you know, Quantum.OLED. And I already know, once I compare it against Quantum.OLED the right way, not the bullshit way every AV YouTuber is doing it, you're going to see some things that you didn't see in their videos. And then every single LG fan is going to come out and bitch and complain and blah, 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 blah. I don't feel like listening to it right now. I'm like, dude, fuck that shit. I'd rather do something that's easier on me in the comment sections, which is just get the TCL QM8. You really kind of can't go wrong with reviewing that, because what I found about people in the TCL market, they're not really like Apple fans, you know, like where LG gets a little fanatical. That doesn't really happen with TCL. TCL guys are just like, hey, fuck it. I roll with this TV because it's a great TV and I'm going to be rocking on it. And I think that's great. But for all intents and purposes, I don't know. I don't know, man. I think it's one of those things where every year you're going to have rebuttals no matter what with everything. But I think TCL fans these days are a little bit better than they were back in the past. And they're actually the more easygoing. I think the only audience that beats them is like the Hisense crowd, because the Hisense fans are just chill. They don't even, I mean, like, if you tell them a Hisense shit, they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to get that one then. You tell a TCL fan sometimes that a TCL is shit, they're like, oh, well, screw you. You don't know what you're talking about. And I think you're stupid. And I think you're dumb. You're like, well, calm down. Calm down. It's a TV, bro. Like, it's not that serious. It's never been that serious. But that's what it is like. So that's my thought process. But I mean, eventually we'll get around to them. Pretty much all of them, because, you know, it is the job. That's what we do here. But I'll take my time with the Sony, because I already know when you look at Sony, I mean, I'm guaranteeing, without even putting it in the tests, that it's going to have two problems. One, motion over the A95L is likely going to be exactly the same. You're going to have all the terrible ghosting issues that I saw. If you didn't see that video of the A95L motion looking awful, and this is like news to you, you're like, Sony's motion processing is amazing. What are you talking about? Go and look at that video. I don't say go look at it, just say don't look at it. Like literally go look at it. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. It's got issues with motion. It just does. And the other thing is there's an undefeatable blue that Sony has been doing lately in all of their TVs, where it's just like a WOLED, like purples look very blue and everything is just really blue. They want it to have that WOLED look. Don't know why, don't like it. So I'm not really expecting a whole lot from it. And again, when you say those things out loud, people complain, and yeah, not really trying to deal with that right now. But yeah, eventually we might. We definitely might, but yeah, everybody kind of these days, though, to be honest, is TV manufacturers is on a downfall. Use your settings on all my TVs. And that's what's up, man. And what do you think about the settings? Did you find any new updates on the settings as you did on the S90F, on the S90D, and S90F? The S90D, S95D was a no-go. I'm still trying, but it's like I said, they just don't have the same feature set. So I'm hitting a wall real quick with that. It's like I get most of the way there, but then I introduce a new problem. And the new problem in my case is there's a lot of green in the picture, and it's just not worth it over the settings I had before. You also lose a ton of detail, and it's just not worth it. So I don't know how to kind of get out of that. And I'm looking at it like, probably not viable on these sets without that feature. And that's kind of where I am right now. But I'll keep working at it to see if I can figure something out. Any chance Q6 MK settings for game mode? Already a member. I have nothing for game mode for that particular television. Typically, I don't do a whole lot of game mode specific stuff because my recommendation is to game outside of game mode for picture quality reasons. Now, for online competitive play, I always recommend typically just take the values I did in SDR and apply them to game mode, and it's the same thing 9 times out of 10 across the numerous amount of years I've been doing this. I have like literally never seen a TV manufacturer like I take the game mode settings or I take the SDR settings and put them into game mode, and then it just falls apart in game mode. As long as it's SDR game mode and not HDR game mode, you will be fine. Because most of the picture presets respond the same. And these days they give you a bunch of different additional options like standard and RPG mode and all this other stuff. So you usually have a good assortment of things that you could pick from. But no, I don't really do game mode dedicated settings because again, it just defeats too much picture processing, which enhances the picture to a point of value that I think you would want. The settings go hard. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that, brother. Do you think monitors have caught up to TVs visually? Yes and no. I mean, monitors are kind of like the reason I don't personally review monitors is I don't see a point. I think for the price point of a monitor, you're better off going with a television nowadays, especially because, I mean, let's cut the shit. Nobody is getting, 1,000 FPS or 500 FPS. It's not realistic. The GPUs aren't made for that. People are struggling to get fucking 1440p and 144 hertz. Yeah, technically you can get those, but you're not going to have ultra settings on them. And I don't know any PC gamer at all that wants to buy a nice GPU, but then use medium or high settings. I think that just defeats the purpose entirely. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are those 1080p gamers that say, hey, I'm going to game at 1080p, and I'm going to have the most amount of frame rates this thing can throw at me, and that's a rarity. And they are okay with low resolution for the sake of frame rates, but not everybody is like that. And I think they are the absolute minority for sure. So no, I don't think that they have, but I mean, it could change within a couple of years too. I think they're close now with the QD OLED monitors, but still work to do for sure. I have a day one S95C with no updates. That's good shit, man. Which of the big three is the best? Only the OGs will know. Honestly, this changes a lot now, but the best right now, I'd say out of the big three, as much as I hate to give them the credit for it, I'd say it'd have to be Samsung. Only because even though they screw up their TVs with updates, the initial picture quality is amazing. The features are spectacular, like smart things, the integrated home thing. where you'll have like a bespoke washer dryer combo and you'll be able to control it, bespoke stove, control it from your freaking phone and all this stuff. It's all integrated into one ecosystem. Very intelligent. Turn on your TV from your phone. If you have a Samsung Galaxy phone, you can ping it from your TV or any other smart things device in your home and find your device. It's a lot more ingenious than a lot of the other things out there. And then you got to factor in just the raw picture quality and all that. You have to give Samsung credit for that, even though I cannot stand them right now. I really kind of hate Samsung right now, if I'm being honest with you. Then I'd say next up would be LG. LG is rocking out on every category, except they, for the life of them, can't figure out how to just break away from WOLED. If they could do that and say, fuck WOLED, we're going QD-OLED, they'd win. I've said this now for years. Do you think they listen to me? No. They're too busy like getting sucked off by all these journalists that they pay off. And if that's your business model, by all means, keep losing, because QD OLEDs are continuously purchased because more people want them. There's a reason Samsung holds the #1 market share and is the leader of OLEDs now, where LG used to hold that space. It's because WOLEDs are no longer exciting. I don't know a soul alive that genuinely wakes up in the morning, gets excited to spend that kind of money on, what is it, a WOLED like LG G5 or LG C5. How many people are excited about the C5? Nobody. But a fuck ton of people are excited about the S90F. You see my point? Nobody wants anything that's not quantum dot nowadays. It's stupid to do so, honestly. You just put yourself behind, is not future proofed at all, and the colors they speak for themselves. And then of course, dead last, Sony is on the decline. I mean, I don't know what they need to do. It kind of feels like a company going out of business, really, because they cut models, their lineup is smaller and smaller and smaller every year. They offer less features, they roll back things off of their most premium sets. It feels like a company trying to save costs at all cost. And if they're really struggling like all that, then they should target the mid-range customer base, because that would be the smartest thing to do. 1,000 to 1,500, I think that'd be a perfect bracket. And then you just make the most quality sets in that price range, and then fuck everything else. I mean, if you really have to, I guess, waste the money on the highest end, but yeah, I mean, I would just be real with you. A lot of people, they don't give a fuck about Sony the way they used to back in the day, because the quality ain't the same. So they need to make a new processor and a whole bunch of other stuff, which they're not going to do. Shout out to the Christian Conservative. Thank you for your donation of $5, brother. It helps us out, as you know. I appreciate you, man. Do you still have the LG BX settings for HDR? I have SDR settings. Have the SDR settings of yours. It's lit. I would like to have HDR too. I actually do not know. That was a long time ago. I don't know. I just work on those TVs for that time period, put up what I put up, and I kind of move on to the next one. I don't really think about the whole catalog. I might have HDR settings for it, but I don't really know off the top, to be honest with you. So you're going to have to look in the playlists for the BX to see if it's there. Cameron H says, Mob Psycho is absolute peak. Facts. Quantum, it has some of the best animations ever made. Oh hell, you don't gotta tell me, man. I've seen the whole thing. I'm all caught up. What do you mean? It's a spectacular anime for sure. Absolutely. Shit. I'm still waiting even for like season 3 of One Punch Man. Shit, I know that's gonna go hard and crazy too. Dragon Ball and Naruto. Okay, we got a couple of anime recommendations here. Jason Shaw, what's going on? Do you have settings for the LG G4? Yeah, I believe I do. I think I did like a standalone SDR setting for that one. What are your thoughts on the Hisense 16 or 116 RGB mini LED, the UX? I don't see it going anywhere. I think it's pointless. I think it's good to innovate the tech, but they always start off offering it to the most rich people, which I'm gonna be real with you. Who the hell on this channel really is buying a 116-inch mini LED TV of all things for the price of, like, a car? I call it what it is. I mean, nobody's gonna do that. No one's gonna be making TV payments like they'd make car payments. I don't see, like, everybody every month, like, oh, let me shell out $500, $600, $700 a month on a TV. I don't see that happening just to pay off the fucking, like, what, 30 to 40 grand the thing's probably going to retail for. Like, I don't see it possible or even plausible, especially since they're trying to really make a big deal out of the RGB mini LED thing. But we have RGB TVs right now. They're called QD OLEDs. I genuinely believe that anyone downplaying QD OLEDs is either willfully ignorant or they are paid to do so at this point, because there's no way you could see what it offers and then be like, this is not true RGB. It is true RGB. And I don't know why we're excited about true RGB happening on an inferior panel type like mini LED. I don't understand that. You'll never get me to understand it. I don't get it. How has life been going for you, bro? I mean, stressful shit. Life is life, right? Shit, you gotta work, you gotta deal with your family issues and everything in between, man. And I tell you, it ain't easy. But what you gonna do? Life keeps on life, and whether you like it or not. So that's all we can do is keep it pushing. What's going on, Handicap Mexican? You said, yo, what's up, brother? All right, Christian Service says the smaller TVs for competitive / online gaming. I heard because your eyes have to work more. I think as far as smaller TVs go, I usually personally stay away from them. I think as small as I'm willing to go, it's even for a gaming monitor, is 55 inches. I don't really go smaller than a 55-inch display ever. I mean, I just don't. I prefer having a bigger screen with more real estate, as you say, where your eyes don't have to work more. And frankly, it just feels more immersive personally for me, though I don't like to go anywhere near being larger than 65. If you're like maybe for like a main living room TV, the max I probably would ever go in my life would probably be like 75. That'd be a little, I think 65 is a sweet spot. You get that really, 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 really tight pixel density. I mean, it's just not being overstretched, and that's the simple way of putting it. And that kind of brings me to my main topic of tonight, where we're talking about a lot of people asking, hey, TVs or projectors, projectors are shit, get them out of your mind. Every projector pretty much that I could think of is going to be worse than your television for two reasons. One, you basically have to throw the light onto a canvas or something of that sort, onto a wall, whatever it is, right? And you're going to lose light output versus something that's illuminating, like let's say OLED, like QD OLED, pixel level illumination. It's going to have a certain glow to the image that's going to be undeniable, which is going to be really impactful, and scenes that have a lot of neon to them, like, you know, a cyberpunk kind of vibe or like a Star Wars kind of vibe. You're going to want to see all of those beautiful highlights, and you just aren't going to really have that on a projector, along with the fact that a projector's colors are just not on to par with what we have on televisions at all. It's just not. It's just more washed. It's shittier. You get a bigger screen, but it's kind of like it. I don't endorse projectors at all. I don't like them. I'd rather say, hey, if you really, really, really have to do a projector because you got a big room, a big theater room in your home, just buy a 100-inch TV at that point. Yeah, sure. But again, that's why they're more expensive, because they're better. So that's kind of the science behind that. Is the A8H still a decent TV, or is still decent, or is it time to upgrade? I say it's time to upgrade to a QD OLED for sure. What's the best budget TV in your opinion for the price? Budget TV, like budget, I'd say TCL Q6MK. That shit was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I looked at the black levels, everything. I was like, dude, like they're going really hard on this TV this year. So I'd say the Q6MK, best budget TV, period. Again, we're talking budget though. What's your thought on ATSC 2.0? Not really a whole lot of thoughts on that. I mean, I don't really use it. I don't think it's going to affect most people too much. I think what we've had kind of works, and it's kind of been working. So I don't really give too much thought into it. Just personally though. Quantum, will the Deadpool mask ever come back? No, I don't see it coming back. I mean, that was something I did back in the day just to protect identity back when, you know, somebody else cared about that, because I never cared about identity. It wasn't my thing. But, you know, for somebody that's afraid and you try to keep them safe at the time, then that's what you have to do if you're a social media personality. But now I don't give a fuck one way or another. You know what I mean? That's just me as a person. But yeah, I don't see that happening ever. I like my face. I think I have a pretty decent face enough to use my face and not a mask. And it was hot and hard to breathe in that thing, and talking, you know, it was an art form at the time. So yeah, not looking forward to doing that ever again. Which of the three is the best for you? One Piece, Naruto, or Bleach? Ah, shit, man. I mean, I think it'd be mildly disrespectful if I didn't give it a Bleach. Because Bleach has just everything. You got a good story, but you got a ton of action. I mean, even the filler episodes aren't really that bad. Where Naruto and One Piece, their pacing is ass, and the fillers are even worse. You sit there sometimes in these animes and you're like, dude, I just want to get back to the fight. Like, come on, dude. Like, why are we waiting like 18 episodes? Like, Wano was the worst pacing. Like, you're like, Kaido's fighting Luffy, and then they focus on somebody you don't give a fuck about. You're like, dude, I don't care about these side characters. I just want to see what happens with Gear 5. I want to see what happens in all of this. And it's just pacing. And Naruto, no different too, because shit, there's so many episodes where it just tapers off and they go like, and they go back to like at the beginning, okay, let's do a recap of what you've already seen. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go back. And Bleach does not do that. They never go back. And not to mention, their characters are just the freshest, cleanest characters you've ever seen, style and fashion wise. They stay up to the nines with the dress code, and there's always like a flashy opening, and there's just a lot there. And then don't get me started on the musical score. Yeah, Bleach, you got to give it a Bleach. They went out on that anime. It's really underrated in my opinion, though. Just saying. Though I would say second place though, One Piece for sure. Looking for a new TV, LG C4 or the Bravia Mark II. What would you recommend? The Bravia Mark II because it's a QD OLED, but I would say go with the A95L and save yourself some money. That'd probably be the smartest route if you're between those two. Always a 65 for me. I feel that. Have you ever tried those hybrid monitors from Samsung or a monitor with smart TV functionality? I mean, I have, and I've enjoyed monitors from Samsung before, but I mean, comparatively to the television experience, there is no comparison, and that's where I mostly live. Uh, what video games do you play? Ooh, we're asking good questions. You actually caught me red-handed. See, right before I got on this live stream, I was just playing Lies of P. I don't know if you know of the game. It's a puppet game. You run around as Pinocchio, and this like dark fantasy kind of world is pretty dope, you know. And then I am proud of myself. I'm just gonna brag and gloat just a little bit, just a little bit. I've graduated to the point of being a hacker. It was a lot of work using this wonderful thing called the cheat engine and making my own cheats for my game. And oh my gosh, you want to talk about fun? Going in and changing the addresses and doing what crazy shit you want to do to the game, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with it, getting into that, learning that like technical side of things behind the scenes of a lot of stuff, and that is one of them. And let me tell you, your boy's happy because I have like fucking a billion ergo. It never goes down. I mean, like in Injustice 2, I was hacking source crystals, like the paid currency that they're like, oh, you have to pay for that. I was like, yeah, fuck you. Maybe you do. I don't. I'm gonna fucking hack that shit. And I'm just like, I'm getting it. You know, it's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty dope. But I'm not the conventional gamer though, for sure. Liza P, if I'm being very fair, that's my wife's recommendation for me. She loves the game. I think it's a labyrinth, and sometimes I struggle. Like I'm one of those people. Like everybody loves Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, for example. I'm one of those people that loved it but hated it at the same time because if only they had a waypoint. Because there are moments you just run around like, where the fuck do I go? And I hate games like that because I spend more time running around, getting dizzy, and getting frustrated. Like, where the fuck do I go? And that's kind of like what I call those games. Like, you have categories: RPG, action RPG gaming, and then for me, it's where the fuck do I go? And that's what those games are for me. Like Elden Ring is one of them, where you know you're running around 90% of the time, completely fucking lost. You're like, where the fuck do I go? I don't know where this is. Where is this? And it's just very, very frustrating. But it is fun. Liza P, I will give it. It is a lot of fun. But games, I think right now, I play Forza Horizon 5, I think we're on right now. Yeah, unapologetically love that. Modded, all my games modded, except for like wrestling games. Got to learn how to do that. But they have like some weird stuff where you got to go on Patreons and pay people. So I was like, yeah, fuck you guys. Sparking Zero. I'm waiting for Wu Chan. I don't know if you guys know what that is. A Chinese game. That's going to be so fire. I'm so excited for Wu Chan. Freaking Souls Aside or Lost Souls Aside or something like that. Hinokami Chronicles 2, the brand new Demon Slayer game. I'm playing Eden Zero right now. Loving that game. A lot of fun. But I'm an anime guy, you know what I mean? So anything anime, I'm probably gonna like it as long as they don't make it like their ass like the Hunter x Hunter game. Okay, that's just what it is there. But yeah, no. And how about you guys? What are we playing now? All right, so the Monster Association arc and One Punch Man oh man, I know it's gonna go so crazy. It's gonna be so intense because they're gonna be like popping off all the special effects. And you can only imagine the look on the fucking the artist's face as they read what they have to do and all the fucking skill they're gonna need to have to pull off that crazy. But it's dope because Ufotable apparently is gonna be doing it. So I'm like, dude, these are the same people that brought us Demon Slayer graphics, visuals. And these people are gonna cook so hard. Oh, I can't wait for it. It's gonna be dope. So yeah, I'm excited for that for sure. One Punch Man, legendary already. You should review Panasonic next. I mean, I have gotten that request a lot, and maybe one day if I get enough people, I might do it. But the way I look at things, I look at like what would be most helpful for everybody, and I just don't see Panasonic being very helpful because a lot of people ain't buying Panasonic. And that's the honest truth. I personally don't fuck with Panasonic. I don't like their attitude. They like shafted the US for years, like we don't need your business, and then came back like, oh, let's just sell to you guys now. And it's too little too late because we already have a tandem OLED with LG. And I know nobody, and I'll be very frank, I know nobody in the United States that says, let me buy a Panasonic over an LG OLED. Nobody. Doesn't happen. I don't hear it ever. I hear LG, and that's it, but I don't hear nothing about Panasonic. It's whisper quiet. And for that, most people say for the price of the Panasonic, I would just buy a Sony because Panasonic is out of their fucking minds with their prices. $3,200 for what? Like, you don't even have quantum dots, bro. Like, at least Sony has a QD OLED, even if potentially it's shit comparatively to what they did last year. At least it's better than that. You know what I mean? I don't know. They got issues. Is the C1 still relevant? Absolutely. Sadly, Bleach ended too rushed. Yeah, it did. But good thing is that we're on the 1,000-year Blood War arc, so you already know it's going to be pretty epic. We're seeing a lot more, coming out of the new season, so got to keep it locked. But yeah, I love Bleach too, man. Thoughts on Berserk anime? I haven't watched it, but I played the game, and it kind of inserts some anime pieces in there. I mean, some moments are a little sus. You know what I mean? But overall, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, it's all right. Sounds like you're having hella fun with that game. Most definitely. If Anakin Skywalker reached his full potential, do you think he would have been unstoppable? I actually do. I don't really see very many people beating Anakin because, I mean, that man was overpowered. But, I mean, in the end, we kind of saw what happened. But even still, I think he was a little overpowered as a character, for sure, with the kind of abilities that he had. Warzone, I don't play it. I'm personally not much of a shooter fan. I don't really like shooters. I mean, except for like Tiny Tina's. This like S rank is legendary. It's fantastic. Looking forward to Borderlands 4 too, but yeah, I don't play shooters. I will if it has a theme to it and it's fun and there's more to it than like we're in a war and let's shoot and kill and all that. That's not really my thing. You know what I mean? The whole army guy thing lost on me. But outside of that, no. I heard Demon Slayer was inspired by Bleach. I actually heard that too. I think it was kind of interesting when you look at some of the elements, and it's like I could see how that is definitely the case for sure. For sure. Right until like we get to the part where Bleach has those Bankais, and that alone is its own thing. The sword having its own like transformation, and especially now in the 1,000-year Blood War, it's like, ooh, that's amazing. And then Demon Slayer has actual powers. That's where Demon Slayer kind of ones up Bleach because they literally transform like just badass, like with the marks on their head and everything, and go all beast mode, getting all veined up and jacked up and going ham. Like, I freaking love the way Demon Slayer does it. I think they're both great though. What are your thoughts on Attack on Titan? I think Attack on Titan is ass. I really do. I see it crazy, maybe, but maybe not. Let's see if you agree, okay? See, my premise with Attack on Titan is that you have these people from the outside world that were attacking you unprovoked for no reason at all, just because they saw you as the devil's children, you know what I mean? And they thought to take you out. And then you have this one kid that gets some power, sees the future, whatever, and he's like, no, I'm going to take everybody else out. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take everybody else out. And you would think, like, as he's gonna do that for his city, the people that like were held down the most, like they would hold it down for him. But instead, they betrayed him and they were like, "Nah, Aaron, you're doing the most. Yes, it will help us, but the world that tried to hunt us down deserves mercy, and then we're gonna betray you for that." So actually, we're all gonna join with the enemy instead of you, who's rocked with us and had our back time after time. No, we're not going to rock with you. We're going to rock with the enemy to take you down to save the world that tried to take us down. Stupid premise, very dumb. And then in the end, they killed the character off, the main character off anyway. I do not rock with animes that are about betrayal. I hate betrayal. It's the most unforgivable sin in my book. Don't betray. And that, for me, no. I showed my wife the anime and she thought the same thing. She hated it, fucking hated it, because it's stupid. It's really stupid. You have his main character, you fall in love with the character, you're like into his development, and then they're just like, we're gonna kill you off. It's like, okay, why don't you just say you're Game of Thrones and then I'll never watch you, okay? Game of Thrones, that's all you gotta say. I'm done. Period. But yeah, that's what I think about Attack on Titan. Have you ever updated any C1 and C2 graphics? I have the 42. C2 is kind of done. I didn't do anything else for the C2, but I have dabbled back into the C1 and probably will from time to time for its lifetime assessment. So the same thing for every TV that I end up purchasing. I always do these things called quality of life updates. So basically, more or less every year, you're going to get a new setting, some way, shape, and or form, more or less, if I'm capable of producing a next level. Same thing like S95D, S95 now F, S90D. Like all these TVs are just going to get quality of life. And anytime I do comparisons and I find something new, I'll release those settings for everybody who has those TVs still, which is why it's such a great thing. When you're in the membership, you don't just have access to like one setting for like one specific thing and then you're done for the $5 and then you get gypped. No, it's like you have access to everything I've ever made. So if you decide later on, you're like, I want to get like a C10. I made a shit ton of settings for that. C1, a bunch of settings for that. You know, you can go back to the E8. I got settings for that. I mean, as long as I've been doing this and making settings for TVs and reviewing them, the ones that I recommend, keyword, the ones that I recommend always get settings. If I don't recommend the TV, I will not make settings for it 9 times out of 10. I'll be like, it has no potential. It's not worth it. Don't do this. If you do this, you shot yourself in the foot. I gave you, it's like don't put a paperclip in the plug advice. You know what I mean? Don't do it. You don't have to find out why, but some people want to feel the shock, you know what I mean? So it just depends on that kind of thing. But otherwise, yeah, I would say look at the playlist and you'll find everything there. Ultimate Muscle was the funniest anime I've ever seen. Ultimate Muscle was peak back in the day, man. You're talking Saturday morning cartoon stuff right there, for sure. What are your thoughts on Hisense QD7? I think it's trash, to be very honest with you. I think anything that's not ULED, don't waste your time on Hisense or any other brand, really. It needs to be that level. I feel the same. That ending plot pissed me off, for sure. VIP here. Blessings, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can't wait for the QM8 review. Also, what's a good TV for the living room, $1,000 budget? I say a good TV for a living room with $1,000 budget probably would end up being something like the Hisense U8QG 65-inch, or if you could swing it, the Samsung S90D. That's what I would recommend for sure. What's good, George? Nice to see you, brother. Will you play Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake? No, I never really got into the Metal Gear games. I got into the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance or something like that. You know, the guy with the sword going absolutely apeshit crazy, kind of like Ninja Gaiden. I got into that real easy. But the other ones, I don't really like the stealthy, sneak around, be careful. I'm more of a hack and slash kind of guy, like go in, swords blazing, tear everything up and do your thing. Will you get, what is it? I can get an S90D for $890 from a wholesaler. Is it a good price? Yeah, it's a great price. I'd do it. Also, kudos for always speaking your mind. I appreciate it. I mean, hey, listen, you got to look at it this way. Times will change, but you can't change who you are. That's the way I always look at things. And people always try to say, oh, you can't say that nowadays. Everybody has this wonderful word called sensitive. And it's true. People are very sensitive. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, they'll come to the defense of these YouTubers. Oh, I can't believe you're talking about Vincent now. Why are you always talking about everybody? Just do your own thing. It's like, bro, do you know who I am? Like, have you actually put any teeth in the game and tried to go back and watch me? I'm Quantum TV. I've done this since I started this, talking about what everyone is doing wrong and how not to get led astray by the way they do things the wrong way. Because in the one hand, would you respect me? Everybody watch. I'm genuinely asking, say yes or no. It's only a yes or no question, okay? I'm genuinely asking, okay? Would you respect me? Be honest. If I came to you and I was like, my name's Quantum TV, I'm a professional, and I think TV should be this way, I'm the authority of this, this is how TV should look. And then anytime I'm petitioned by anyone in the comment section, hey, Quantum, can you make some settings? I never make them. And I never address those people. And I ignore them every time. But I'm the expert and I know so much about these TVs and what makes a great picture. But every time I'm asked, hey, Quantum, can you make settings? Not going to answer that. Not going to address it. And then I finally make settings. You ready for this? I finally do it. I say, all right, guys, we've been waiting. Let's make you some settings. I tell you to turn off smart hub features. I tell you to turn off burn-in prevention. I tell you to turn off energy saving, which is kind of common sense. Most would have done that anyway. And to lower your contrast to what it was at like 38. Nothing about white balance, nothing about how to maintain your contrast, how to create depth, nothing about the picture quality. I just tell you general shit you could have figured out on your own. And then I stand up there like, hey, I'm superior. I'm the authority. I know what I do. If you've ever read the description of Vincent on HDTV Test, it's rather pompous. It's like, I'm the leading voice with at least 20,000 views of video. It's like, and you still can't make damn settings to save your life. What's your point? You got a lot of people watching you and you serve none of them. Great job, Vinny. Like, you're incompetent. The rest of them are just like you. You're their idol. They look up to you. And every man that knows nothing about how to make TVs look good, actually getting a platform and tricking and gaslighting the fuck out of everybody, that he actually knows what he's doing. Because when push comes to shove, he can't make picture settings look better than you can. I guarantee, I would bet my bottom dollar you right now could do better than he does every day of the week. All his certifications, years of experience, none of it matters because he doesn't know how to do it. He hasn't done it in years. None of them have. And that's why I say I don't waste my time with them. I literally just call it like it is and say they don't know what they're doing. This is what they represent, and this is what it is. You know what I mean? And that's just as real as it gets. All right, so we got a couple of questions that I missed up here. Shout out to George Lopez. Thank you for donating $4.99. I appreciate it, brother. It helps us out, as you know, for sure. We've got, I knew you were solid when everyone called you a cracker and pulled the biggest reverse Uno card. Yeah, I've seen that a lot too. It's like, it's almost like if you're a black guy and you speak English, just normal English, you're not Ebonic, you're not speaking a certain vernacular, you don't dress the stereotypical way that Hollywood movies tell you should, you know what I mean? You don't do any of that. Then magically now you're just trying to be white and you're just this and that and the third, and you get called out of your name left and right. And all I can say to that is this. I'm like, dude, you believe what you want. I went to school the same as everybody else, and don't be mad at me because I can conjugate my words. Like, bro, I'm intelligent as fuck. Like, come at me, bro. Like, I really am. But at the end of the day, it's not even about that. I don't give a fuck about skin color. I really could not care less about that kind of shit. But some people do. And it really bugs them because how they were raised, I don't know. Maybe their parents should have tried harder. I don't know. Regardless, some people just have that issue. And for them, we say, God bless you. And let them pull their reverse Uno card. It ain't going to amount to nothing. Gauntlet on NES, or on NES, I see. Haven't played that one. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Okay, that one, I don't know. Maybe it'll be pretty good. Yeah, I still remember you since you had the Deadpool mask on. Yeah, you and a couple other people. That was back in the day, man. Had to wear that, though, for sure. Hey, Quantum, what do you think about the Hisense U9N? Kind of pointless, if I'm being real. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, at that price point, probably just jump over to the OLED side of things. Because if you're going that high up because you want those black levels, you probably is going to say, screw it. If I'm doing all this for black levels, I'm probably going to get an OLED. What's going on, Vel? Nice to see you, brother. If you switched up, I would be like, nah. Oh, for sure. There's no way, bro. You can't switch up, man. You never can. I mean, not even just for that reason, but just for the sole reason that like switching up is, I don't know, I think it's kind of weak. Like, you are who you are. Be that. If you can't be that, then like, what are you even a man? Like, you one day you're this way and the next you're that way. It's like, it's not what it is. You're just being yourself for sure. Will you still recommend the S95D over the S95F? Yep, every day of the week. I knew Q was solid when he was calling out HDR over SDR. Facts. SDR is one of those things that I don't know why people are like magically with the existence of HDR. They're pretending like SDR is shit. It's like, no, your content creators are shit. They don't know what they're doing. And because they don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to give you a good informational piece about how to make SDR look as good and better than HDR. And most of the time, that's something I'm able to do. And it does get annoying though, because like I then like have the reverse question where people will go, okay, well then are you the only one in the world that knows anything about TVs? That's kind of narcissistic. It's like, okay, let me ask you a question. If you go to a preschool classroom or you gather all the preschools in the nation and they are at one educational level, and then you show up there and you try to teach them something like, I don't know, advanced trigonometry, and not a single one in that room can do it. Is it narcissistic to say that you know the most out of everybody in that room? No, because you have the most education. This is the same exact thing. I have the most education about how to make a picture, not follow a reference. And because I have the most education about how to make a picture, that's why I'm better than everybody else. It has nothing to do with anything else. They could do it too if they educate themselves, which is why at the end of my so-called bashing, I always tell them, go back, go learn, and come back and try again. Because you can do it, but you have to be dedicated to learning. It's like people who go for their law degree or people who go for anything else. You need to want to learn it. I can't make you want to learn it. You know what I mean? I could teach you, but that's not going to do anything if you don't have that desire to actually hone and refine, because it's a lot more than just book smarts. There's a point where there's something called practical application of this job, where you have to, through thousands of TV sets, put those hours into actually calibrating. It's like flight hours for pilots. You need on-the-job experience, and they just won't do that kind of work because the establishment came down and said, no, this is all you ever need to know. Big Brother said, this is the industry standard, this is the way we do things, and we don't ever have to do anything differently since the 90s. And I come out and say, that was the 90s, it's 2025. TVs have not stayed the same. And because there's new technology, your logic falls apart. And it's funny because they talk about features, by the way, which it's mind-blowing that they even mention these features since they're so-called purists, right? Like Dolby Vision and all these HDRs. That's not reference to anything. There is no standardization for that. So that purist idea goes right out the window. They're hypocrites because it's cool when you say for one thing that we can have a standard, but then for another we don't need one and it doesn't matter, we can be whatever. You're not a purist then. You're just a guy doing what's easier for you. And that's what it is, for sure. Thank you, George Lopez. I appreciate you, brother, for donating $9.99. It really does help us out and continue with this awesome content that you guys love here. But I really do want to shout you out, brother. Thank you for that. Even Best Buy salesmen hate me when I quote your videos. Yeah, it's bound to happen because then at that point, you know more than the salesman at Best Buy. Q, what are your thoughts on Invincible or Arcane? I haven't seen Invincible, shamingly enough, but Arcane. That's a good anime. I don't like the way it ended for the last season. I do think it was stupid the way it ended, but I'm not gonna lie, it was peak entertainment, and I really did enjoy that. How to fix blue on older quantum Samsung like Q60/Q70R? That's something that like it depends per the panel. It's not really that easy to do, and it's not as simple as like just going in there and just saying, hey, we're gonna fix the blue and it's just gonna be completely gone. So that's not something that we could do. Shout out to the Christian Conservative. Thank you for donating $5. I appreciate you, brother. You help us out more than you know, for sure. I have a 100-inch Hisense U76N. What are your thoughts on that TV? I've actually never heard of that. I don't know if that's like a European model or another region's model, but I've not heard of the 76N. Will HDR be viable in the future? I mean, here's the thing. For certain TVs, it's viable now. For example, if we take the QD OLEDs, like the A95L, one of the most beautiful HDR pictures I've ever seen. Truly, like when you look at Transformers, Age of like the Fallen or something like that, it was amazing. It was beautiful. I was like, wow, this is great. But then if you take something like, let's say, the Sony A8G, not impressive at all. So, I mean, I think as time goes on, they kind of throw the rule book out of the window and do what they know with processing to make a better picture. And I think that's ultimately where we see the better HDR for sure. But I mean, how would you be able to quantify that? You wouldn't. You know, it just depends on timing as to what they're going to do and how they do it. And that's, I mean, that's the hard part about it. Like the Samsung line of QD OLED TVs, pretty much every single one of them is an HDR whiz. You can't pick one of those TVs and not have great HDR. But if you go with something like, let's say, the LG G4, for example, you will run into examples where color is not going to be what you expected, but the highlights and everything will. So you have to make your trade-offs. Past that, and you look at like those mini LED TVs, and that's where things fall apart because black levels and all that nonsense too. So it is viable somewhat, but SDR is usually better anyway. Bro, amazing work. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, we have DEI calibrators. Oh my gosh, is that like so the truth though? It really is. I can't lie. That's kind of all they do. They do a lot of that, and it's a lot of the like they're too afraid to be men is what I found about the other calibrators. I mean, really, let's call it what it is. They don't know how, and I don't mean this as a diss. I genuinely mean that. Like they don't know how to be themselves like they are in real life on camera. They have to be like these weird men that don't exist in society. It doesn't exist because if you pressure a man and you call out a man, what is the man gonna do? They're gonna step up and be like, "Oh yeah, what's up, bro? Like this is what it is. This is what it is, and that's what it is." But see, these men, they come built different. They come sensitive. They come a little too afraid to address other men by name. They got to dance around whataboutisms. They got to dance around, you know, devil's advocate and just being like as petty and as female as possible by saying nothing. They'd be like, I'll just act like I don't even know you exist. It's like, you can act like the guy with 95,000 followers and subscribers doesn't exist, but you're the idiot because I exist. And I've called you out on this specific thing that you do, and you've remained silent. And omission is a form of guilt because you can't really speak to these things if you're guilty of these things, right? Now you can try, but I mean, at the end of the day, and I love this logic where they go, "Oh, well, we don't want to give them any more of a voice or a platform." It's like, bro, wake up. I don't do this for the platform. I do this for the people that click on and watch, and people who watch have this thing called word of mouth. They're going to tell other people the truth. That's just the way the truth has always worked. There's always people that tell lies, and there are people who call out the lies. I mean, am I wrong? And so I think an interesting thing with these so-called, you know, calibrators, as you put them, the DEI calibrators, they're always going to be telling you what to do. As hypocritical as it, oh, I think this is best. I think we need to do that. There's always a new problem to solve with these calibrators. There's always a better thing to do. Where in my world, if something is good, you can say it's good and leave it alone, right? They don't have that. Every year you need to buy a new TV. Every year's new model is perfect. You hear that? Every year's TV model every year is perfect. They don't ever come out and tell you, yeah, this year's kind of a flop, guys. Sorry to break that bad news to you. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just save our money, gang. Let's get up. Let's come up and let's come back next year. Maybe they'll do better. I'm the only one that says that. The rest of them are just like, I mean, this TV might not have this, but you know what? It's still a good TV. And then proceed to plug affiliate links and commissions to bleed you dry. And I just don't see how anyone could ever, and I see the comments where they go, oh, you're just jealous of them. I'm like, how, dude? I mean, I'm sorry to be vulgar, guys. If you have children, cover their ears. I'm not joking. Do I not have wet pussy? I mean, I have a wife. I'm good. I mean, I'm fucking good. Like, I'm good. Real good. Seriously good. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I'm gonna be good, you know? That's why I don't get how these guys are over here like on that. I'm like, bro, like, calm the fuck down. Like, be a man about what is, like, if you see something you don't like, call it out. If the manufacturers don't rock with you, what's the worst they could tell you? Fuck you, I don't want to do business with you no more. Okay, and I'm still gonna review your product, and you're still gonna get a shit rating. And you know what? More people are gonna learn what you're about until you fix it. You know the kind of products we would get? It would be the real Sony we had back there, not today. The real LG, the real everything. We'd get competition. But with social media influencers willing to suck off any advertiser for any reason instead of giving them the reviews they earned, we end up in this fake society of fake reviews because nobody's actually putting these TVs past out of the box settings. Nobody's actually like holding these TVs to any real standards outside of the ones created in the 90s. Ooh, the bar's in hell. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? I don't know. And that's where I'm like, I don't care. I let them do their thing, but when I get people that ask me questions or when I see certain things, I'm like, nah, now you're kind of being a little ridiculous. I'm gonna call that out. I'm gonna call a foul on that, you know. And I think these are the same men that claim to like sports, right? But when the umpire pulls up the flag and goes up, they're the same men that are cool with the flag for the other team, but when it's their team getting called out, they're like, oh, that's bullshit. See, I'm an equal opportunist. I'm like, oh, well, you know what? Yeah, that was fair. All right, that's fair. All right, if that happened, that's fair. That's, you can't do that shit. See, fair is fair. And these people don't have that. So that's what I'd say about that. But I totally agree with you, Christian conservative, about these DI calibrators. 100%, my boy. Let's see. Why do you think Samsung looks so blue in general? Honestly, because blue is one of those wavelengths that increase saturation, particularly with primary colors. So when you have a blue light and you focus on a blue color temperature, all your primary colors go through the roof. Your reds, your blues, your greens. And this means that you can trick somebody with content tailored to those three colors, right? By putting green grass or bright red flowers. And someone walks into a store, they look at it and go, wow, that's gorgeous. Not realizing they're just using the blue light trick, where if I put everything in a blue light, I'll make it look really good. And that's what Sony uses. And I think Sony doesn't have to use low-handed, underhanded tricks like that, because they were capable of a TV like the X900E. If they made an X900E but fucking cutie OLED, we would all shit ourselves with excitement, okay? Just gonna call that like it is, because that is S-rank material. But we haven't had that, and it's just very irritating that we haven't had that. Christian Conservative says, Invincible is a retelling of Marvel in someone else's perspective. For example, the main character, Mark, switches his suit to a darker color like Spider-Man did with the black suit. That's pretty badass. I hear it's a really good show, and I'm very tempted to watch it. Just gotta find the time to do that. I know they have a new fighting game coming out, but I know nothing of the show. Do you think we have physical media to look forward to past 4K? Nope. They just killed off 4K Blu-ray players thinking that we wouldn't buy them on eBay or something like that. So I don't see them making 8K players or anything like 16K players, to be honest with you. They want to push those subscription services, because if I can get you to pay for the movie over and over again versus you pay me once and own it forever, that's good for me, because now for the same, let's say Aladdin on Disney Plus, I got you every month shelling out for that fucking Aladdin that you could have already owned 1,000 times over if you did the math on how much you spend in a year on that subscription. That's just the way they work. It's shitty. It's absolutely shitty. They don't really give any real benefit outside of access to a movie you could own. I mean, it's fucked up, but that is the way they do things. What do you think about that LG G5, my brother? I think it's kind of too little too late. I think if it would have came out last year, that would have been great. But I think this year, with the options that we have, as many as we do for QD OLED, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the price point. I think if it goes down substantially, then it's great. But I mean, it's going to be limited for color. I will try to get it in and test it out to see what it's all about, and maybe we could push it past that. Maybe I'm completely and totally wrong, and with my settings, that thing hits absolute S rank level. You never know. You never really know. It happened with the 95F, and that was the biggest piece of crap ever. So it could happen, but again, that introduces kind of like this like phantom element where I have to be a part of that process, and it's like I have to make those settings. And if I don't make those settings, well, you probably won't see that. So how fair is it really to rate them on the potential that they have if I'm the only one with the education to get it to that potential, and everybody else is running with outdated shit and saying this is all it can do, and I'm like, no, it can do this. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a gray, murky area. I don't know. We'll see, though. My Q76 is the American version, but I bought it in November. That's weird. I've never heard of it. I'll learn something new every day, right? Hello, how are you? I have an LG C10, and I've noticed the colors weren't as bright as I would like them to be. What do you think is the best TV for gaming? If I've got a couple hundred inch television, I think honestly you're better with any QD OLED coming from a C10, G10, the 10 series from LG. You're gonna absolutely be about it. Based fan base. LOL, for sure, my brother. Spot on Q. They're the men, quotation mark, who need to have a different personality for work, school, life, dating, bunch of weirdos. You're not wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't really care one way or another, like in any of those areas. And I'm just the guy you see is the guy you get. And I don't think a lot of people in today's society, where they're used to like everything being plastic, they're not used to that transparency. Like, you meet me in person, I'm like this. I'm not gonna change for you. I'm not gonna change for anybody. I'm gonna be real. Like, you know what I mean? You know how exhausting that is to live a lie? Like, one moment I'm like this, hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Like, no, that's not fucking happening. It's not happening. I could not live with myself if I had to be a goofy goober all day. I could not do it as a grown ass man in his mid 30s, literally sitting there having to be a goofy goober all day just for the sole purpose of clicks and views. I don't give a fuck that much about it. I'm gonna be real, and if you rock with me, cool, we're brothers. But if you don't, hey, to each their own, go find, the pussy you like too. Because, they're out there. They're definitely out there. The ones that will, oh, did I offend you? I am so sorry. What can I do to make it better? Never gonna get that out of me. You got me fucked up. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way I'm gonna do that shit. You got me gonna be real 100% of the time, though, whether it's in work, all those other areas you just mentioned, brother. And I imagine many of the men watching this channel right now are exactly like that. And look at those sackless men like, bro, didn't your dad ever tell you to like rub some dirt on it or sack up or grow a spine, or the world doesn't revolve around you, or like, suck it up energy? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That falls under shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I don't know. I don't get today's men. I really don't. What do you think about the Hisense U8N? It's all right. I mean, I don't think it's bad TV. It's all right, I guess. Please start a pod and get in the manosphere space. Just your single dad knowledge alone is priceless. I mean, I'm not a single dad. I have a wife. I'm not a single dad. I'm not. I do know the single dad aspect though. Like, if when your wife has to work and you are stuck with the kids and then you're all by yourself, you know what I mean? Because maybe family sucks. I could tell you a lot about that life. When I tell you the shit sucks, fucking sucks. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna lie, you'll be sitting there like, oh, these fucking kids, bug, they won't shut up and they won't stop and you can't do anything. Oh, every time your ass hits the seat, it's just like, Dad, you're like, fuck, not again. What do you want? I get it. Trust me, I get it. But at the end of the day, though, I think, I don't know, starting a podcast, I don't really know how many guys would be into that. I mean, hey, listen, if you can get a community of people that want to watch it, I guess I could do something like that. I'm not opposed to it. Shit, I have a whole relationship advice channel on TikTok for people who've been divorced and shit like that, heartbroken, and I give advice on how to come out of it. So, I could do some shit for single dads and shit like that and everybody in between. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Who knows? You might be lucky. Maybe I might do that podcast with my wife if there's enough people. Let's see. Have you improved mini LED the way you've improved the C1? Nah, no way. They're two different ballparks for sure. The business should be their followers and not their brands. Amen to that shit. Can we give him fucking a high five for that one? Shit, we got Vel down there with 100 and high clapping. Same here, man. That was facts all day. For gaming, is the LG G5 or the S95F superior? I'd go with the 95D for sure. We're getting the S90D settings real soon, Q, with different white balance settings for the 55 and 65 inch. They're about the same. It's the same panel, so you're not going to have to worry about that. If it was the WOLED model, you would have different white balance, but not for the QD OLED variant. Thoughts on 2023 Hisense U8K100 inch, new 2025 U8? I probably would go for the 2025, to be honest with you. Is 8K ever going to be a standard for the house? Not anytime soon. We need honesty on YouTube. I miss the old days when YouTube used to be raw and real, and now everybody wants to walk around eggshells. 100% on that one for sure. Size matters. $80 for 130 inches. New settings for the S90D, still a work in progress. Young men need you. Shit, I'm raising a young man of my own, shit, and I'll tell you right now, that shit is hard. Because you know what I mean? Like, when you're a dad, okay, you don't realize the implications of it till you look back and you're like, okay, I got a lot of shit I got to teach this man. I got to give this young boy, like, everything to be a man. Because you're not raising children. You can't be like, oh, my little prince, the same way you can't look at your little girl and be like, oh, my little princess. No, you can't do that. You need to raise adults or they're going to be fucking useless. They're going to be the entitled, whiny, crybaby punks that can't do anything on their own and have no respect for authority, no respect for anybody. So you got to be that man. And then how do you do that? Well, you got to go to your Bible. I know a lot of people run from that concept in today's days, like, oh, there he goes with religion. No, really. Go to your Bible and there's an answer for almost everything and how to be a man. And that's what our fathers had. Men who would go to God and bring their family to God as the head of household. Like, hey, we're going to God. This is what we're doing. And when you have that structure and that backbone of a real man in your life, everything falls into place because you got to be the man that follows God and your family follows you without question because they know without question you're following God. And that's why, you know, if you read in the Bible, it tells you that your wives are supposed to submit unto you. They are, because you're supposed to submit unto the Lord. And when you do that and you start raising the next generation of men, oh my God, it's amazing. You do things differently, and then you start reflecting on yourself and where you need to work on and all these little areas, and beautiful things happen developmentally for you that you never would have had without those children. Facts, just guaranteed facts. I can tell you, I only want the best for my son, and shit, I'll do the best I can to make sure I raise the best man, as many of you guys are doing with your boys. I can guarantee you it's going to be a process, and it's hard, and hey, if I could ever touch any young men, though, send them my way. I don't care if we're talking about TVs. If there's a young man that needs guidance or help, I'll fucking put him in the right direction for sure. Because you know what? That's my brotherly duty to you. So if you know somebody that needs somebody else because they won't believe you, you know how those stubborn knuckleheads are. I mean, shit, send them my way. I'll fucking try to talk some sense into somebody. So that's just what it is. As it's a great way to broaden your audience. I mean, hey, an audience is good, but a community is always better, in my opinion. Q, how come photography has caught up with things looking blue to them, not looking blue, but the TV community hasn't? I noticed at work when I look at photos of judges. I mean, it really kind of comes down to, like I was saying earlier, like the influencers are the problem. I mean, the TV's manufacturers don't have to try as hard if they're going to have people covering for them. Fresh and fit needs you. Haha. I don't know, man. It would probably turn into like, I would be schooling fresh and fit, like hardcore. I'd be teaching them because a lot of the stuff they say, like, it's like, okay, even if you believe a certain standpoint, you got to come at the women like that, bro. There's a way to be respectful and a way that's just disrespectful. Like, if you feel like you have the high ground, you don't got to yell at the girls, or you don't have to like call them, you know, bitches and all that shit. You don't have to do all that. You can just state your point and be like, okay, well, you're wrong. And you could be attitudinal about it, but you're wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think they do it the right way. I'll sponsor your podcast when it starts. Nah, he doesn't need fresh and fit. I mean, I don't really rock with their vibe, but you know, W Christianity, amen to that. The fresh and fit fans need him though, Vel. I mean, I'm probably too real for them, to be honest with you. They probably wouldn't like me very much. Like, oh, this guy's spitting facts. We don't want those. We only want to put women down and make them feel like this small and then act like we're men. Because it's one of the things Fresh and Fit said that really still to this day rubbed me the wrong way, like bad. Is like, he was like, oh, well, I have a lot of money, and if I want to sleep with a bunch of women, that makes me the man. I'm able to do that. But if you do it, you're a whore. I'm like, no, bro, you're a whore too. And that's like a double standard, and you're a hypocrite now, which means you're not even a real man because you can't even have actual principles and values. Like, your principles and values are literally just putting down women for the same thing you're out here doing. Make it make sense, bro. But yeah. You got to be laughing about Rich now. I don't actually wish any ill will on the man. I don't know the man personally. I never met the man in person. I don't care. Like, when I'm in my daily life dealing with my daily stresses, at no point does Rich or any of these guys that tried to get me canceled come up ever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I didn't give a fuck then. I don't give a fuck now. I don't. I think of it like this. If I'm so important to you, you've got to come and look into my personal life and try to make your own assumptions and try to drag it out into the court of public opinion and think that has any bearing on the way a man's going to live his life. Good job. But I'm still here. I'm still doing what I'm doing. And it's been the same thing that it's been since before they came here, and it ain't changing. So, I mean, really, at the end of the day, what did they accomplish? They just complained. Okay, good job. Everybody can complain. You know what I mean? S95F versus the G5. I'll have to check that out at a later date. If the S95, S90D and S95C use the same generation of panel, do your settings for the S90D also work for the S95C, or is it too much? That's hard. I don't know because of updates. That's the thing. So it's experimental. You are a member and you do have access to those. So I'd say test them out to see which one works for sure. Well, the Fresh and Fit fans need to find this channel. We'll send them on over for sure. True, they abuse women. 100% they abuse women, and they don't have no shame about it either. I mean, look, I don't agree with the kind of women, right, that are on those podcasts at all. I think they're the kind of lost girls that need fathers. But I don't think like the answer to having men fail women. Let me explain this, okay? I mean, you guys don't need me to explain it. I'm going to do it anyway, just so maybe people who are looking for a gotcha moment in this is like, look, I don't think women, okay, who are led astray by their fathers or male figures to the life of OnlyFans need another man to come along and say you're a piece of garbage because they've heard that their whole lives or something to that effect. You're just putting it down lower and lower, and they go, see, I'm all bad, I'm all trash, I'm no good anyway. Yeah, I already know that. This is why I do what I do. You need to uplift them and say, look, dude, like there's more for you out there than dick. There's more for you out there than social media and these fake people that ain't gonna be around when you're 50 and you finally find a man and he doesn't want you because your virtue is gone. You are valueless at that point. No man is gonna want to run through a woman, a used up leftover woman. She is the droppings of another man. Nobody's gonna want a girl that has literally let herself be the pass around at a party, the pass around anywhere. No man wants that. So going on a podcast and trying to humiliate chicks, not that deal. And that's why I don't really like Fresh and Fit. I think it's like a weak thing. I really do. Because if you're a man and you're cool and you're secure and being a man, you don't have to pick on a little girl. Because she's clearly a girl. She's not a woman. She hasn't figured out her own shit. You don't have to go and beat her up and like make her feel this small and then be like, yeah, but I'm the man because I make money. You can have billions of dollars. But let me tell you something. These women out here are leaving billionaires, okay? Look at Jeff Bezos can't even keep his chick. What hope does the regular man have if he's not picking a God-fearing woman? No hope. I promise you this. Mark my words. Mark it on your calendar. If you don't have God in your relationship and you don't have a God-fearing woman that has morals and values, your marriage, your relationship will fail 100% of the time because your foundation is on quicksand. Test it out. See if I'm lying. You could say you're not a person of faith, but then when you're in that low spot and you're trying to figure out why she left you, why she did that, that's why. Because you walked away from God, the Most High. You turned your back on him. You walked outside of his protection and bam, he had to humble you. And that meant taking that person you cared about more than anything away or whatever the case may be. It could be anything. This isn't just about like even just relationships. It could be even about like children. You know, you could have lost your kids to the ex-wife. You could lost your kids to the ex-husband if the women are watching because of the way you conduct yourself unbecoming of a godly person. And I know a lot of people in 2025 run from religion. They're like, he's talking God. Oh, you lost me there. Well, you're lost. I don't blame you for being lost, but there's a song I really want you guys, honest to God, if you don't do anything else, I'm actually requesting this. Please do this. Like, honest to God, look up The Reckless Love of God. That is the name of the song. It is a beautiful song. And look at the lyrics and actually hold them in your heart. And I promise you, you will see what I mean when I say just feeling God's warmth. Just feeling God's warmth is enough to change anything about your life. So that's what I'll say there. I'm going to wrap up the live stream here by reading the last couple here. You and Fresh and Fit agree on the pass around subject, just different deliveries for sure. And you said her income doesn't matter anymore. LOL. It's all about her faith. 100% faith is everything for everybody, not just the women. Do you see any difference in processing between the 90D and 90F? For sure. I think that the S90D is better. The F kind of has some issues for sure. Namely being really flat. Dragon says facts. Funny thing is, Christianity is now controversial. Don't let the mainstream media fool you. It's never been controversial. Most of us believe in God, and most of us have some form of love for Christ. These people want us to feel this small so we don't form a community, so we don't talk about Christ, so we don't multiply disciples for the kingdom of heaven. We multiply disciples for the kingdom of hell because you're only going two places. And the broad way, unfortunately, is to go to hell because all they do is glorify themselves. You got to ask yourself, when's the last time you bought a family a dinner? Even if it's just 20 bucks. When's the last time you donated toys to kids in need? When's the last time you put anything back into the community outside of taking for yourself? If you don't have answers for that, and you make good money, there's not really an excuse for that. And that's why, for me personally, I look at guys like Fresh and Fit, multimillionaires, but all they do is bring chicks on podcasts and talk crap about them. That's not putting back, that's not giving back, that's not doing anything helpful at all. And you're not actually trying to give them God, you're giving them hypocrisy. And God also doesn't say that you beat everybody over the head with the Bible and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Take me as I am, come as you are. That's what it is. You come as you are. You could be the worst person on earth. He'll clean you up. Guarantee you. You could be an addict. You could be a liar. You could be a murderer. You could be a cheat. You could be whatever you are. Go to God and he will clean you up. And you will no longer be that person. And you'll have what I call the Jesus glow, where you are glowing brighter than ever. And you look back and you're like, wow, like I actually feel clean inside. I feel pure. I have that love of Christ in me. And, that's what I can hope for everybody. But also, that's why my delivery with what I do is very blunt and to the point, because I have this thing called conviction. I can't lie to you. Like, I can't, because that conviction will eat me up alive. I don't have that leeway to be like, oh, I sleep good at night knowing I make money off of people suffering. Hell no. No way that's happening. Because I already know the condemnation on me, way worse than people that don't know. And that's the truth. Let's see. Have you seen Code Geass? Hell yeah, I have. Great anime. Fantastic. Speaking of which, probably going to go spend some time with the missus. Going to go hang out, chill. I'm probably going to be back next Friday. I will try to do it 7 p.m. through 8 p.m. Mountain time, because I'm not on Eastern time anymore. But yeah, that probably put it around like 8 or 9 your time. But yeah, I'll do what I can. I think. Well, no, I'll probably put it later, huh? If I'm Mountain time, 7 p.m. through 8 p.m., that'd probably be like 9, 10 your time. But still, if you're on Eastern. But yeah, last question of the night. Have TCL versus the Hisense. Which model for the value? I kind of lean more towards Hisense because of the color, but Hisense these days has a better, or rather TCL has a better black level. So we'll see when the TCL comes. As far as the main topic about projectors and all that stuff, I would say, honestly, go TV versus a projector. For anyone asking that question, we will be looking at the TCL QM8K, and I will let you guys know everything. So, of course, beforehand, please let me know what you want to see. Put it in the comment section down below. And the last order of business is I have a gaming channel. The purpose of this gaming channel is when we get new TVs in, like the TCL QM8, how we have the S95F, we're going to do gameplay sessions on those TVs so you can start to get your gaming questions answered there, because there's just not enough room on the main channel to do both regular stuff and gaming stuff. We're going to separate it. So go to the gaming channel if you want to see how those TVs perform, along with some other general gaming advice and news and stuff like that. Make sure you support your boy. Help me out. Do what we can to build that community up, and we'll keep it rocking and do what we do. As always, I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you. I don't want to mess up your name. I'm going to call you Ram. You said, Q, you're a real one, brother, and as are you and everybody that is watching this live stream. Thank you guys for spending your night, or at least a portion of it, with yours truly here at Quantum TV. Until the next live stream, I'll see you guys later.